Welcome to Working Dragon Mystic, where we discuss real metaphysical and occult knowledge so that you can manifest real and tangible results in your life. And this week, we're going to be talking about something I've been getting a lot of questions about, and many of you have heard me talk about and mention in the past, scrying. So stay tuned. But first, Bob.
Well, hello there, seekers and prospective dabblers alike. I'm sure many of you have likely heard this before, but the Dark Roast Monster here is having me read this before I can go back to what I was doing, so please bear with me. Please consider supporting Drake and everything he is working on by utilizing the YouTube memberships. For each tier of said memberships, you may find that you unlock additional perks, such as private live streams, monthly spell workings, and others. Also, feel free to peruse some of our merchandise on our shop's page. We have t-shirts, towels, mugs, and many other items and garments, each with their own bit of art on them, like the Draconic Rulers and the Dragon's Eye Seal. We also have this one hosting regular live streams on Sundays at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're one admin I'm thinking of in particular, remember to convert the time zone and set an alarm. At these streams, you can listen in on Drake's latest work, ask him questions, and generally have a decently thought-out discussion. For those looking for a more long-term involvement with the community, others to talk shop with, or peers to learn and develop alongside, please check out our community on Guilded. There, you'll find a variety of different people and different cultures and practices, and in one of the admin's case, a wonderful use of the mute button. I mean, the blonde one just, when he goes on a rant, he just goes, and doesn't stop. I mean, does he ever shut... What? Oh, okay, fine. On topic. For all interested in set, easy-to-follow courses on Magick and its many facets, take a look at Drake's online school on teachable.com. Here, he hosts a steadily growing roster of courses on different topics of magic. If you find that you don't see something that you're looking for, let us know. We'll try to find it or incorporate it in the future. From beginner to learned adept, all should find something that they didn't know prior. Links for everything I've mentioned in the description below.
Alright, thanks for that, Bob. Now, real quick, we need to talk about scrying here. Many of you have all heard me mention that scrying is my favorite form of divination. Hands down, it is the one I enjoy the most, and I would even say I turn to it the most. Now, any of those who have taken some of the online classes, you will find we've mentioned scrying in a few of those classes. Specifically, Dragon Magic 102 is coming to mind right off. And we will be discussing scrying in the evocation class, which, ironically, I just finished filming some shots for. So we're hoping to see that later this year. And technology malfunctions aside. And that's what actually got me to thinking that for as much as I love scrying, I've never talked about it here. And I understand why I get so many questions about it. In every book I've come across, at best you'll get maybe half a page, but on average you usually get just like maybe a paragraph that big at best. And they don't really tell you how to scry. They tell you what it is usually. And what is it? Well, scrying is the gazing into a surface to see a different location, place, or time. That's all it is. Now, another thing is, scrying doesn't get a lot of credit or backing amongst divinations because the general census is, whatever it is you see, you're just making it up. There's no way to confirm it. At least with tarot or runes or your pendulum, it has real life applications and you can prove the readings. Okay. I'm here to argue you can actually get better data, more factual results, and provable results with scrying than the other things. And that's actually why I like it. Now, most people say, well, scrying's expensive. You got to buy a $100, $200 obsidian mirror. Here's my mirror. Great mirror. This is my mirror. There are many like it. This one is mine. However, this cost me under $20. Yes, under $20, because this is a cheap picture frame that I picked up from, I want to say it was Walmart. It could have been the dollar store, but it was cheap. I always keep my eye out for picture frames that are either just silver or just this black or even natural wood, because I like them. Some of the ones they got, I'm not a big fan of. And then I took a can of matte black spray paint from the hardware section, and I sprayed the inside, this side, of the mirror, of the glass. Okay, and I let it dry. Put a couple coats on there. And then once it was fully dry, I put the back on my picture frame, closed up the picture frame, and when you flip it over to the unpainted side, look at that. I bet you we can, yep, there's my door. We got some natural light happening here today. And this has been a fantastic scrying mirror. And I honestly find mirrors like this work so much better than the obsidian ones. I really do. These are very, very, very cheap. And you can make your own. You can even put some sigils and runes around here if you like. It's not necessary. Some traditions will even say charge it under a moon and keep it covered. Don't let any daylight hurt it. Well, that don't really affect it. You can cover it. I do keep a cover on it. It's mainly to keep dust off it, and I also use it as an altar cloth from time to time. Sorry about that. We had a really big noise issue. Anywho, like I was saying, you don't have to cover it. I cover it to keep dust off it. I also like to use it as a nice little surface that I throw down when I am scrying, kind of an altar cloth like deal. I particularly do not charge, bless, or anything in my mirrors. You can do that. Some people will bless them with anointing oils or moon water or the like. Some people will wash them with mugwort incense smoke. You can do that. Some people charge them by the light of the full moon and then are terrified to let sunlight hit them. But those are tradition-based things. Once the mirror is painted and made, you're good to go as far as scrying goes. Now, before we get into why I think scrying is so amazing, let's talk about what is scrying? How is it done? Well, if you watched our sigil magic video, we talked about gazing at a sigil, where you relax your eyes and you will gaze at the sigil, almost like you're looking past it though. You don't want it to be in full focus, and those lines start to disappear, reappear, and activate. You do the same thing with your scrying mirror, quite literally. You will gaze at the mirror, let your eyes relax and go unfocused as you're almost looking past the mirror, and it'll kind of cover with this white fog as it goes out of focus, white to grayish in tinge usually, and that's pretty much when the mirror itself is activated and ready to go. Now this is kind of important, because if you don't really know what you're scrying at or how you're scrying, you know, what good's it going to do you? And you want to make sure when you are gazing at your mirror like that, this is kind of important too, nothing is actually reflected in the mirror. Because like, see, if I hold it right here, I'm in my mirror, I see me. Now when my eyes relax, that's going to distort my image, and I may think I'm seeing something that I'm not seeing. So I want to try and make sure I have nothing reflected in this mirror when I got it set up. Now there's a lot of ways people talk about how you can tilt it this way. It gets tricky. My favorite way, which was taught to me via evocation, is to actually lay my mirror flat so that I can look down into it almost like I'm looking down in a pool. And since I don't really have anything on the ceilings, most people don't usually, it gives me a nice clear surface, really easy. And it also makes it very easy for me to set it on a flat surface and do that. So, great way to do it. Another option is water scrying, in which case you can get a stainless steel mixing bowl at the dollar store, just a little tiny one, fill it with water, gaze into it the same way you would a mirror. I actually love water scrying. It's very fun. Now, once you get that nice fog effect happening, that's when you want to change your focus and lock on to what is it you're scrying for, okay? Are you trying to receive insights to an answer? Okay, if you're trying to receive insights to an answer, you may see words come across the screen. You may see images. You may see stuff like that that is going to need to be interpreted somewhat. And that can get a little tricky. I admit, just like any divination, the symbology often has to be interpreted. Okay, so do remember that. However, sometimes it's going to come through very, very, very clear without any doubt. No matter how it comes through, always, always record it in your journal. Make notes of what you saw. Make notes of what you heard. Make notes of what you felt. Yes, scrying can actually engage all the senses while you are doing it. Now, the next one a lot of people use is they want to scry the future. They want to see the future, the old crystal ball bit. Okay, anytime we look forward with divinations, we see one path of almost an infinite number of paths. Okay? So you could scry forward to any particular future you desired or wanted. That does not mean you will actually arrive at it. Got me? So you could see you achieving many goals that you want to achieve because they are probable and possible. But that does not mean just because you saw it in the scrying mirror that you yourself personally are guaranteed to achieve it. You're not guaranteed to achieve it. Here's the problem. So instead of scrying what you want and try to see that location, when we use the mirror to scry forward, we should scry forward to see the things we need to accomplish to get there. Now, how do you do this? Well, what I do is I actually look for the result I'm wanting. And then I pull back. Every time you pull back from that one point, you're going to see several points. All these different things that you're going to like and or not like. That's going to lead you to that point. Okay? It starts to spread out. Almost like the Final Four for basketball. How you have all the brackets and they come into the Final Two. We're going the opposite way. And every time you pull back, you're going to see this happen again. And even more and more pathways are going to open up. Until those pathways get back to the point in time where you are actually scrying. What this does is now allow you to develop a game plan of things you need to work on and try to achieve to get you to that goal further down the line. I use this a lot, and we will probably have to do a video in and on itself to show what I mean. But this does allow me to put effort into the physical world as well as spell work to guide me along that path to that destination. And by looking at all the possible paths, I choose the one that A, is most likable for me and seems the most probable for me to achieve. See, just because it's the most likable may not mean it's probable. And then just because it's very, very probable don't mean you're actually going to like it either, because there are all the things that are going to be crappy monkey paw-like paths that can get you there. And you don't want to do the bad stuff and make it harder on you in life. So you got to balance it and find the most balanced path that you're willing to take. And sometimes you may actually find out a path has a bracket you just aren't willing to take. And that's okay. Now, the next thing that we can do is we can actually scry on a person, place, or thing on the material realm. And this one, some people will refer to as remote viewing, but I love this one because this is the one that you can genuinely work your scrying skills and prove. Okay? Now, it is true, many magicians, myself included, have wards and the like to prevent scrying and peeping in on them and whatnot. That's fine. In fact, some of mine even show false images, and some of them even show some hilarious images. But that's another topic for another time. I do plan to do a wards video. However, when it comes to scrying, this is the place where it is the most confirmable. The most. It is true when you plan out something and you use scrying to achieve goals moving forward, and use scrying to help you plan your path forward. You may not always hit all your goals, but you can definitely see how scrying would make those goals easier. That is the next most provable. If you're scrying the past, if you're scrying emotions, or you're just scrying for insight, there's no way to prove them. That's just anyone, it's a crapshoot. You have to take those on faith. I'm not a big fan of faith. However, in this one, this is where I actually take my students and I talk to them about scrying and perfecting their scrying skill. I will scry rooms in the house. I will have friends adjust things on a table or something in a room that I'm familiar with, but they will change it in ways I don't know, and I will have to map out the room and tell them where things are as they have been changed using scrying. Now, at first, you may not get this at all. You may just actually visualize the room and the room come through very, very clear, more clear than your normal visualizations, but you're still using a preconceived image of the room, and that's fine. Because scrying you're not actually seeing it in the mirror, weirdly enough. You are using your arcane sight with scrying. So you're creating a kind of a feedback loop between your eyes gazing and your arcane sight processing, which does create the illusion that you are seeing it in the mirror at times. Sometimes it'll just be in your head, and that's fine. What you see with your arcane sight is what you're getting. That's what your main focus should be. So working with a friend, I would have them do that. And this is a great way for you and a friend to practice your scrying skills together. Another thing I would do is if I have a friend coming to my house, I would actually scry them in their car to see what they're wearing, their wardrobe for the day. Because when they get to my door, I can easily say, how accurate was I? And I'm going to make notes on accurate percentages. Is there something I was off on? Was the shirt correct but a different color? All these little variables can be shifted. Were they wearing jean shorts instead of jean pants? Did I get the color of the shirt right but the design wrong? As the information is processed when you're first starting out and even later on, some things will shift and be slightly inaccurate. And you've got to be aware of those possible slight inaccuracies at all times. The next thing I do is I will actually scry locations around my home, my neighborhood, and my community that I can get to and observe and actually look at. And this is actually something I did for the evocation course. I actually demoed this where I scried a location and there was an oddity in the location. I then packed up, grabbed my camera, and went out there to see if that oddity was indeed there. Okay? And that's what I do on a regular basis. I will scry locations, whether it be walking down here to the end of 2 or 3 blocks, where there's different structures and playgrounds and whatnots, or whether it's the park up the road, anything like that that can change. I will go and scry. I'll even scry the parking lot in front of my house in order to see what cars are where, and I'll make notes of these cars and map out the parking lot and then take my notes out there to see how accurate I indeed was. All these things can easily be used, scried, and then proven or debunked. Very few divinations have that ability to be proven or debunked. Very, very few. And this is why I absolutely do adore scrying. It is hard. It is hard to develop the skill set, hands down. But it is a skill set I worked so hard at it in attempts to debunk divinations originally and to kind of shoot it down. And along the way, I found out it ended up being the most reliable for my practice. I ended up debunking me, which was a great thing. And anybody who does real research, that when something like this, when you're wrong about its uselessness and you find value in turn, it's an amazing day indeed. And so the fact that I can easily use scrying for a practical, real-world application and get real results that I can put down in my book and collect data and track my genuine accuracy with scrying. That made me fall in love with it so quick. And these are things anyone can do. You don't even have to make a mirror, really. I set my journal on it, but your phone can easily act as a scrying mirror. Look, that's a shiny black. Okay, it's got fingerprints all over it. Buff off the fingerprints, and then you're good to go. So you could use your phone. But when we are practicing and training our scrying, we need to use those real-world applications, because every time we hit a success with those real-world tests, you're building your confidence, you're building your trust in yourself, and building that confidence and trust in your skill set makes it easier for you to separate emotions and just what you hope to see when you look forward. Because I'll be honest, hope and emotions and what you are wishing for contaminate a scrying going forward. I guess it's kind of like Yoda said, always emotion the future. He ain't lying. You can easily contaminate your own scrying because of that. And that is the hardest thing for most people to get past. But if we pull it back to the testing our scrying abilities via practical things we can test and actually check on, we can develop our scrying skills and our confidence really quickly right here in the real world. And, talk to your friends too. Ask them, do I have permission to check in on you on occasion? And then call them up. It's like if I scry you between the hours of so-and-so to see what you may have on today or what you're having for lunch, could I then text you and find out if I'm accurate? I will say get permission and make sure they know what times you're wanting to do this, because, well, let's just say there's been a few awkward scrying situations where friends did get permission to scry. They just chose very awkward, inopportune moments to scry, and they may or may not have saw something they may or may not have wanted. So make sure you have permission. Make sure you have permission. You're respectful of those boundaries and stuff like that. But yeah, scrying can be a very valuable tool. I absolutely adore it. Like I said, I use it to look in on locations and happenings. There's been times I've got friends that are outside cell service or whatnot. No one's heard from them. I can scry and check on them. Little things like that I've used it for. But my number one favorite way to use it once the skill's developed is to help plan a path forward, to see all the largest probable points to map out to a goal I want. I don't really use it crystal ball see the future. I use it as to map out where I'm going for the future and how to get there. I use it like a roadmap, quite frankly. I have used it occasionally to look at weather patterns and see what weather might be like. That's another one. If you are wanting to do future, you could try to do your own weather forecasts even to see what the weather's going to be like tomorrow, which I'll be honest, I use that one on road trips. I try to look forward via scrying to get an idea of what the weather's going to be like the next day. I compare that with the weather forecast that I get on my phone or online at the hotel before we head out. And if the weather is looking like crap, I'm going to do some magic for safe passage, those kinds of things. All these things scrying can aid, help in, and really benefit you in your life by learning this skill set. It is a hard skill set. It takes a lot of focus, and your eyes do often hurt when you're trying to gaze at the mirror. I understand that. And scrying's not for everybody. Some people just don't like it. They find it boring. I get that. I have a similar relationship with tarot. I love tarot and some of the information and the divination readings it can get. And you would think as an old gambler and a card player, I would just latch on to tarot. But there's something about tarot that me and it just don't jive, and it does get a little boring with me. So it's not a divination I reach for most often. So I do understand when someone would say scrying is boring to them, or even runes or something. We all have our different preferences. But if anything, I hope this video will encourage you to take a second look at scrying, to consider practicing it. Perhaps make a mirror or just use your phone, or like I said, you could water scry. And more importantly, while you're developing those skills, actually utilize the exercise we talked about to get real world, tangible, provable scrying results that you can put in that journal and know you are building your accuracy with scrying. Okay? And as you all know, my goal for anything in my magical practice is 80% or better. Last time I actually ran the numbers on my scrying journal, I think my scrying rate was about 87, 88% off the top of my head. So that's pretty freaking good to me. Pretty freaking good. I still want it higher. Do I ever think I'll hit 100%? No, I think there's too many variables to ever hit 100%. I would say 90% would be freaking amazing. If I ever hit 90%, I'm going to probably try to push for 95. But with all the variables that can just interplay, whether you're tired, you're stressed, you're overly worried about something, all these different things can play into it. I'm almost inclined to believe 100% is an impossibility. I don't know. I may be proven wrong in my research before I pass away. We never know. But I do hope this has encouraged you to take a look at scrying. Now, with that, if you have enjoyed this video or enjoyed content like this about the occult and metaphysics and practical real-world applications, I hope you would consider giving this video a like, as well as subscribing, and somewhere over on one of these sides is a bell icon. Click that and turn on the notifications so you're notified anytime we post a new video. I do try to do videos every week. On top of that, we also have a live stream on Sundays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I get in there, we drink some coffee, and we discuss occult things at random. We don't really have a theme most of the time. We just get in there and talk about occult topics and try to reach a reasonable concession as best we can. It's a lot of fun. Magical Coffee Hour, we got a whole playlist of old episodes if you're interested in seeing what it's like. Also, if you do miss it, you can watch the replay as well. Also, we do have a online school. I know I mentioned it a little earlier in here, like the evocation class, and where we do have online courses. All of them are fairly priced. I'm a big believer in fairly priced. So over at the online school at workingdragonmystic.com, click the online courses tab. It'll take you over to the school where all the courses are. You'll see Dragon Magic 101, Dragon Magic 102. We have a tarot class. We have a in-depth meditation class that teaches you all forms of meditation, passive, active, movement meditations, and is even complete with an entire path working to use those meditations and really jumpstart your meditation practice. In fact, I've had practitioners take the course who's been meditating for 30 and 50 years, give me absolute praise on how well the path working still helped them. I was a little surprised by that. But yeah, and especially if you're interested in dragon magic, that's where the bulk of our dragon magic info is. A lot of stuff that can't put here on the YouTube is over there. Alright, so until next time, everyone, I hope you have a fantastic week. Take care. See you later. Bye-bye.